Hey everybody, it's almost New Year's. 2023 is pretty much over. You know, March and April, when I moved out of my girl's home so that she could stay there until her school year as a olive branch to the management group that was kicking us out, that only seemed like a couple months ago, and it's really gone by fast. Despite the fact that a lot's happened this year, and most of it not fun for anyone. I guess if you're something of a black pill enthusiast, you could say that it's been fun to kind of laugh at the absurdity of it all, and there's that, I suppose. And I hope you all had a good Christmas. I hope your lives have been going well, at least better than mine, right? I really do wish the best for almost everyone, except for the most undesirable elements of society, but what I wish for you and what I hope for you is not what dictates what awaits you. You have to decide for yourself what awaits for you, and you have to make that happen for yourself, just like I do. Nobody's going to give me anything. I am quite possibly the unluckiest man I know. Every time I play scratchers, I lose. Swear, I spent $10 on scratchers last night, won nothing. And I never win the lotto. I play a little gambling mini game in the computer game I like to play, EVE Online. I won once out of 30-something times, and then the one thing that I won turned out to be effectively worthless. It was kind of a micro scam, which is allowed in that game. And of course I fell for it because I'm, in addition to being quite unfortunate, not the smartest. I'm pretty intellectual. A lot of people accuse me of being intelligent, and I guess I have cogent points, and I guess my observations and the talking points that I elect to parrot, the media that I choose to consume and I choose to extol, does represent a certain degree of smartness to it, but I can't really sit there and say that's my smartness so much as just me kind of being careful and deliberate in what I choose to say and what I choose to believe and the horse I choose to bet on. And when it comes to betting, I always lose, so I'm sure my ancient traditionalist values that I extol are probably going to go extinct. Society looks like that, doesn't it? And so we're catching up, year in review, whatever. A lot of the channels that I watch are doing annual, the breakdowns from the previous year here that we're just about to exit. Lotus Eaters is doing it by the month. This happened in July, this happened in August. I've been watching some of those, and I've been watching some other channels that I recently found that kind of fall into manosphere content. If you're not familiar with the manosphere, it's basically, in modern society and with all these postmodernist, Marxist trends towards dividing everybody by race, gender, sex, sexual predilections, etc., it's been very misandrous, very hard on men, and men have basically got a lot of the blame for the ails in society, perceived or real, or both. You can perceive something and it is real, you can perceive something and it's not real. You cannot perceive it and it's happening whether you see it or not, that type of thing. So whatever's wrong is men's fault because, quote unquote, we live in a patriarchy. I'm sure that's really old. They've been saying that for years. I'm seeing a lot of that kind of thing going on, and I've been seeing it for years. Me being white and male, it's been very hard for me. A lot of opportunities pass me up and go for somebody that looks not like me. Maybe they look like a different skin color, maybe they present themselves differently, maybe they're more feminine and still male, maybe their sexual predilections are different than mine, or maybe they have the same sexual predilections as me, they just wear them on their sleeves and talk about it incessantly in the workplace, which is wildly inappropriate and was considered a hostile workplace and harassment 5 minutes ago. But it seems like the inclusivity has basically made scofflaws out of a lot of our peers, both in the workplace and in the community at large, and I find that kind of interesting. So I've been seeing a lot of that. I'm not sure what to make of what awaits for us, and I'm barely able to make anything out of where we're at. I look around and I see a lot of people really, really hurting. I just lost my last credit card. They closed my account on me because I haven't been paying enough. And so I no longer have any credit cards to use. I mean, I have 5 credit cards that I owe on, and I can promise you I'm not paying a penny on any of them because I can't. I don't have the money. I have money, I had debt collector like the other month, like 2 months ago. They're like, well, you've had money, sir. You just chose not to pay it to us. And I'm like, that is correct. Credit cards represent effectively the creation of disposable income from your future income. And when that COVID stuff happened, and the whole economy shut down, I lost a lot of stuff. I lost my small business. I lost some jobs I was moonlighting on the books, like I'd work, weekends stocking stuff at Walmart. I had another on the books job I did, part-time in addition to my little small business. So, when things slowed down, I could just lean into my on the books jobs. They didn't pay a whole lot, but it was more than zero. And I had a lot of irons in the fire, and I was moving up a little bit. I wasn't thriving even then, but then, the whole economy shut down. I lost my business, and they have fired me because I, couldn't prove that I didn't have COVID because the tests were demanded early on, but they didn't actually have enough. I'm sure a lot of you remember that. And it led to me getting fired, effectively. And on the other job, I got laid off. And in my own personal business, all my homeowners that I was working under basically started chickening out on spending money because they thought the end was nigh. They were also, concerned about other factors, and were, I worked for a lot of senior citizens, and they would basically be like, look, we're more concerned for our health than having a new driveway, so we're just going to have to pull back on the project. I lost everything. So I lived on my cards for a while. They all maxed out. I leaned into full-time Ubering, and I did okay for, about a year and a half. Then it slowed down. By the second year, I was making less, and by the third year, I was making nothing. I was spending more than I was making just to maintain my car. Just to vacuum my car, clean it, change oil, and put fuel in it was eating up all the revenue for the job itself. And, there are Uber drivers who basically spend nothing on cleaning and just screw it, passenger, you're getting to where you're going, so who cares if there's dead animals and half-eaten food back there with you can go to hell. There are drivers like that, and they seem to have, their ratings aren't much worse than mine were. I was a 5-star driver by all accounts, and I still didn't have a perfect 5-star rating because people like to complain. That's what they're good at. You basically live on tips in that job, and 75% of the people who ride in your car don't tip you because they just don't. They're whatever. I'm not going to get into the whole tipping thing because a lot of people fall on either side of the fence, and maybe there should be none, and maybe there should be a lot of tipping. Yeah, but I think if you're going to tip, you should tip. That's not to say that you should tip 50% on everything, and every time somebody asks you for a tip, you should tip them. It's not like that. But when I'm saving you from a DUI, don't you think you probably should throw me a couple of bucks as a thank you for not, enabling you to go $13,000 to $20,000 in debt over a DUI and potentially kill somebody because you're driving drunk? Don't you think that's worth a couple of bucks? Maybe even more so than that bartender who's basically pretending to like you so that you'll buy a round of shots for your friends? I don't know. Who am I? So, that fell apart, and this year I quit Uber effectively permanently because the money was no longer there. I never did rideshare again after that. I went 3 months without any work, putting in job applications everywhere since I moved into this new place. Lived in my car for 2 months, then my friend got me a room to rent over here in Sanford. And then, I spent 3 months using up the last of my meager savings just living, and then I finally got a crappy job. I liked the work a lot, but the company was just painfully disorganized and were not at all supportive to the employees. They didn't provide us everything we needed. And it just felt like, if anything, the management structure at that job existed to prevent you from just doing your job. So you're immersing yourself in the work, you're doing good work, it's hands-on stuff, it's construction, so I'm making beautiful products. And all the management ever does is pump the brakes on my role, I got happy homeowners, I got happy general contractors, I'm loving what I'm doing, but you need to stop and let's go to do an arbitrary safety meeting because OSHA, or let's go over here and do an arbitrary powwow about how we're basically not doing anything as managers, but we should be in the trenches helping you, but we're just telling you what to do, and then when we're behind on the deadlines, we'll just put it on you. We're going to yell at you, the hardest worker there, because you're making everybody else look bad, because everybody else in the company likes to work with one hand with their phone in the other, talking to their girlfriends the whole shift. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not naming that company. I actually like the owner of that company. He's a great guy. I actually liked my managers for the most part. They were reasonable people as much as they could be. But I don't know. They were up their own ass with the structure of their administration, and just the way it was ran was kind of counterintuitive. They were trying to make the switch from just, a crew of construction guys into like some kind of corporate entity, and they were just doing a piss poor job of it. There was like no opportunities there. It was a snaggle. I could probably, go back there in a year and work again, and it'd be much the same. I don't know. They say they're growing, and I'm sure they are, but they bring on people that are just don't pass the mustard test, and because they do work with at least one hand, they don't fire them and go look for somebody better. They just screw it. It could be worse. We got to get something done. Well, yeah, I agree, but I'm off on a tangent, aren't I? I like to do that a lot. I quit that job after about 3 or 4 months, and then I went another month without working, this time with no savings. That really put a strain on my girlfriend and I's relationship, because she had moved in with me about the time I started that other job. She finally moved out of her place and joined me over here. And that was tough, going a month without any money, like no money. And then I got back to work with a guy that I've known pretty much my whole life. I've known this man. He's been a friend of our family for pretty much since I was a toddler. He's a pretty good guy. I don't know how that's going to work out in the long run, but he has kind of like been making overtures to sponsor me getting an LLC again, which would be very good for him, very good for me, because then I wouldn't have to get paid on the books anymore. I could just be, a subcontractor and essentially bid a job and tire and then get paid in increments based upon the progress of the tasks. And then he won't have to cover me for, workman's comp or other liabilities. I would cover myself under those, and it would make me much more useful in the construction field, because then I can go work for effectively any subcontractor or contractor as a partner LLC or a subsidiary. So either as a sub or as a partner contractor. And that opens up the opportunity for a lot of work far and wide and near to home as well. I'm excited about that. I've been spending, a portion of my money since I got back to work with this job. It's been less than a month on tools, so it's really making my paycheck shrink. I went to Sam's Club to get myself, some food for the next couple weeks for packing lunches so I could save money not going into convenience stores. You will lose so much money going inside a convenience store. Pulling up and getting your gas is inevitable, but it's the silliest thing in the world to actually go inside that store, because that's when you start spending money that you can't afford to spend. Those things are engineered to basically squeeze impulse purchases out of you. It's crazy. So that's good. I got a 3-day weekend. I don't want a 3-day weekend. The guy I'm working for insists we take Monday off, whatever, that's fine. And I'm probably going to go inside and play some video games after I put all this stuff away. And that'll be my evening. My girlfriend's off having fun with a friend of hers, and they're doing something cool. I forget what she told me. I'm happy about that. We don't spend enough time away from each other. Like, I've seen her 7 days a week for like months and months and months and months and months now. It's pretty wild. And I don't do so good with that kind of stuff, honestly. Like, not because I don't want to be in a relationship or I'm trying to break up or anything like that. It's more from the fact that you can't spend all your waking time with somebody. And she feels like I'm not spending enough time with her. And I mean, that's somewhat valid and succinct, considering our schedules are not really well mated to each other. But, dude, I'm out of the house 12 hours. I come back home. I've had no personal time in that 12 hours. And then the 12 hours that I'm home, a lot of that is rest and, like maintenance, like cleaning yourself up, going poop, brushing your teeth, all that good stuff, taking stock of laundry. I don't have enough work outfits to go a whole week without washing clothes. I wash my clothes like twice a week because I'm poor. And also I'm getting fat. I don't know. I'm kind of stress drinking, and I have been for months and months and months. And, now that my thyroid's starting to slow back down to my medication, I'm getting a little fat. So I had to, nix out some of my wardrobe until I'm not fat enough to wear that stuff again. So that's really kind of cramping like how many clothes I have to wear for work. I don't know, I'm just bitching at this point. Yeah, so that's my year in review. That's how my year went for 2023. That's what I've been up to. Watching podcasts, listening to them rather, listening to music, usually electronic like music, like with female vocals that is relaxing, and of course my old death metal. I love death metal, and there's some great channels for the former, like Mr. Suicide Sheep is the name of one channel, and Mr. Mom Music is another. I don't know if they've been super active or not. I can't recollect off the top of my head. I also love new retro wave for like that kind of like vaporwave feel. That's really good stuff, synthwave and all that. It's awesome stuff. And then one of my favorites of all time with like pretty much no vocals at all is Astral Throb. That is an amazing channel. Astral, like the astral plane, and then like throb, as in for my heart throbs for my girlfriend. Astral Throb. Like he does, he, she, they, whatever. They do like 45-minute on average like mixtapes of just like really relaxing music that is stuff that I used to listen to when I was an Uber driver because it was pretty inoffensive. You could turn it to like a low volume where you could kind of hear it without it. You could talk over it though. And like it was just like calming, so that when I get stressed and I'm just like hating life, I can just listen to like some really relaxing stuff. Those are great channels for music. For the death metal stuff, I don't want to get into that. You either are going to like what I recommend or hate it, and then like it's very polarizing. A lot of people think that what they play on the radio can be in that category, and I'm telling you it's not. Radio stuff is garbage, just generally. That goes for pop. It's garbage, generally. I mean, some of those radio pop songs make it onto some of my favorite music channels, and that's fine in small doses, but my God, like Wet Ass Pussy is not my jam. Anything remotely resembling that is not my jam. I don't like listening to some lady talking about, through her lyrics, what a bad bitch she is. It's not interesting to me. It's not what men are about. It's not what men want to hear. It's about as off-putting as seeing a grown-ass woman in pajamas and a bonnet going out of her house. Ladies, some of you guys need to tighten up. What the fuck is the matter with you? Have you no shame? You should be shamed just to supplement the lack of shame you have for yourself. Like, you should come correct in everything you do. You should be presentable to go out and check your mailbox. I mean, I got a t-shirt on and I got jeans on, but I'm fully dressed. I'm not walking around Sam's Club in pajamas like half the people I saw in there. For both sexes, men and women. It's wild. Like the lack of just public decorum is really running in parallel with the lack of cultural values and virtues that people live by, or no longer live by, I should say. Like I don't know, but like you can't just go around being a bunch of godless idiots. Like y'all need to find something to pray to, and I really don't care who or what that is. But you need to find something to pray to, and you need to pray to it, and you need to basically seek some guidance outside of yourself, because if how you do your own affairs is what you consider reasonable, like you're wrong, and you need some kind of a third party to set you straight. And again, I would not put my stock in a person to do that for you, because other people are just as flawed as you are. You should find a higher power. And so I guess my New Year's resolution for you all is for you to continue doing the things that are working for you and are good for you, and to add more things that are working for you and are good to you in your new year, and just work on some self-mastery, man. Like, do something, like learn a new skill, take up a new hobby, do something constructive with your time. And that's what I wish for myself too, and that's what I'm going to try to do with my time. And if I have a New Year's resolution for myself, it's going to be to drink way less. Like, I don't know if I'll ever quit drinking. I don't want to. I actually like alcohol, but I need to like stop drinking the way I'm drinking now. I shouldn't be drinking every day for starters, and I shouldn't be drinking as much as I do. I'm going to go in the house and start drinking as soon as I turn off the car and finish this video. I shouldn't be drinking as much as I do. I want to drink less. I want to do more things that put positivity into my life, because I've been really bummed out, and I can't do anything about, feelings. I can't do anything about the things that are causing that, but what I can do is put more positive things into my life to kind of offset the things that are making me unhappy. And, so like we need to just, all of us, you, me, and everybody that you know and everybody that I know, we all need to just kind of just lift each other up, hold each other to higher standards, and, don't have low expectations from your friends and family and peers. Like, hold them to account. Like, when they're just slipping up and just being slobs, you should tell them, look, dude, you're getting fat. You don't go out properly dressed. You need to tighten up. Like, you need to just tell people you care about, and just be real with them. Just like, look, dude, what is the matter with you? Like, get your shit together. And you're not saying this out of hostility. You need to do these things, because if they don't get that feedback, they think that everything they're doing is just fine. But maybe if everybody around them tells them to tighten up, then they might get the hint and start tightening up. I'm hoping the same for me. Like, my girlfriend holds me to account all the time. She puts me on blast over stupid shit. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. The nagging is annoying. I mean, nagging will drive you out of the house, don't get me wrong, especially in excess. And I don't think she does it all the time. I think it's a relatively reasoned balance, and I don't think she's nagging to nag. I think she's just trying to be helpful and provide, guidance like I need to provide to her. But anytime I open up my mouth to my girlfriend, you know how women are. Like, they're not going to take things the way you intend. And even if you worded it perfectly, they're probably just going to respond to it as if you worded it poorly. And there is just certain things you can't tell a woman, and even though they need to hear that shit more than anything else on earth, if you tell it to them, oh my God, It's almost like I need to like find a messenger that she can shoot for telling her the things that I think she needs to hear. Well, I know she needs to hear. There's things I know that she needs to hear right now that there's no way in hell I can tell her, because it'll just like cause all kinds of problems in a fight and all kinds of other things. Anyways, Happy New Year, guys. I'll try to make less personal rants and more topical content if I can. I don't know. This is a journal of me losing my mind, by the way. This is not a YouTube channel for informative purposes. This is not a YouTube channel for entertainment purposes. Although I have nothing against you being entertained by me slowly slipping into the madness of just a guy like having his cheese fall off his cracker. But that's all this is. This is basically a video journal for myself and for people who may have met me, or complete strangers, to like use me as a case study for what isolation, personal failure, and self-sabotage can lead to. And I don't know, maybe for posterity, maybe after I'm gone, this will be of some significance and it'll be compiled into some kind of a document of cautionary tale. I don't know. I'm not so full of myself as to think I have that much of a significance in the world that I'll mean that much to anybody and that I'll be a best-selling book, my life, me, like what I am. I'm not a best-selling book. I'm just some guy, just barely keeping it glued together, just striving to work hard enough to have my own place someday, to hang my hat and be left the hell alone. It's like so many other people. I'd like to have a family and, raise kids and have a loving wife too, but that's kind of almost psychotic for me to expect that, considering how piss poor I've lived my life and how little I have to offer people in the world in general. And I'm kind of ugly, like I got bad teeth, my hair is starting to fall out, like I'm garbage, so like that's probably not gonna happen. But if I work hard enough, maybe I can fix my teeth and build myself a home, and at least throw on a wig and look okay in my own little kingdom and be left alone, and that'd be kind of cool. So yeah, again, no more addendums. Happy New Year for real this time. Please take care of yourselves.